Okay, welcome. We're on the Mem Vavam with Bays, which is a bit behind the rest of the world. But yesterday we did one Lashon, and today the second Lashon, two different versions in the Gemara. So just to back up from yesterday, this is Mem Vavam and Aleph. It was a machlokes when the pasuk says in the process of getting out of the Nazirus, finishing the Nazirus. So it says in the pasuk, bring three karbanos, Tiglachas and Tenufa. And Tenufa means on the Zro B'Shalem, and one of each of the breads, and the Chaz B'Shok. That the Kohen lifts it up with the Kapay Nazir on the hands of the Nazir. So the Pashpshat says you do the order that it says three karbanos, Tiglachas, and puts the hair into the fire, and then the Tenufa. There's machlokes in the Mishnah, which the more than also a brisa, that is it ma'akev, to do everything. In order to get the heter, does he have to do everything that it says? Which would mean pashas, it means three karbanos, the tiglachas and the tenufa, or even one of the bloods is good. One of the karbanos is good enough. That was machlokes in Tanakama and Rabbi Shimon, and then the brisa we see that it's Rabbi Lezer holds like Tanakama, the Chachamim is like Rabbi Shimon. Then we had a statement of Rav. Rav said Tenufa's ma'akev. Tenufa's ma'akev means that it's ma'akev the nazir from drinking wine. And the Gemara was trying to figure out who's he going according to and what's the chiddush. And so the Gemara said, without Rav, we would have said that it's a machlokes Rabbi Lezer and the Rabbanan. Rabbi Lezer says that you need everything. Achar ma'asim kulam. So you need the three karbanos, you need the glachas, you also need the tenufa. You have to do everything that it says. And the Chachamim, who say achar ma'asim yechidi, one thing is good enough, even one of the bloods is good enough. So then it's not ma'akev. That way, that's what we would have said. So yesterday the Gemara said the first version said it's going according to Rabbi Lezer, and it's not so pshita because you might think that even though everything is ma'akev, tenufa is less because it's showing mitzvah. You also hear karban out tenufa also kamash kama that according to Rabbi Lezer it is ma'akev. That's how the Gemara went yesterday. That was the first version that according to Rabbanan it's not ma'akev. Rabbi just meant to say according to Rabbi Lezer it is ma'akev. By the way, we don't pass like Rabbi Lezer, we pass like the Rabbanan, that one thing is good enough, so the whole Gemara is not relevant to halacha because tenufa is not ma'akev. Even tiglachas is not ma'akev.
What's the one thing according to Rabbanan?
Any one thing.
Any one thing is okay.
Which means, what does it mean? One thing? It's going to mean any korban. One sprinkling, and then he's mutter. So that was yesterday's Gemara, and the Gemara went through this brisa with ben jeish lo kapayim, ben shein lo kapayim. That was yesterday's subject. The brisa says that there's no difference if he has hands or not hands as far as the tenufa. The Gemara thought that it meant that ein lo kapayim is kosher. If he has no hands, he doesn't do tenufa, and that's fine. And it says in the brisa that ben sheish lo kapayim is the same thing. That and the Gemara thought that's what the brisa means. That yesh lo is like ein lo. Just like ein lo kapayim, it's a given. We said yesterday that this term ben sheish lo ben shein lo sounds both of them are the same. The brisa came to equate both of them, and one is a given, and the other one we're learning out from it. So yesterday we said the Gemara first thought that ben shein lo kapayim is the given, that if he has no hands he can't do tenufa, so what should he do? So everything's fine. And it says ben sheish lo, if he has hands also it's fine. That means that it's not ma'akev. How could Bob say that it's ma'akev? And the Gemara at the end we said it comes out to what Leib Yaakov said right away, that it means the opposite. That the given is yesh lo kapayim, that when he has hands he's supposed to do tenufa. If he's and then ein lo kapayim is the same thing, that he's supposed to put it on his arm, even if he doesn't have a hand, he doesn't have a palm, but he should put it whatever he can do, he should do. And if so, it doesn't say if it's ma'akev or not. It just says that ein lo kapayim is supposed to go through the motions of doing tenufa, even though he doesn't have his palms. More or less, that's some of yesterday's Gemara. Now we start. We're in the middle of the Avrohom days, and it starts Lishna Achrina. Lishna Achrina, usually in the whole Shas, Lishna Achrina means a different version, and the printer put it in. Another way of saying Nusach Hacha. But in the Dharma Nazir, we had that it says Lishna Achrina is like Ikadamri. Usually, the regular terminology, Ikadamri means the Gemara is bringing down two opinions, two versions. The Gemara is bringing down two versions. And when it says Lishna Achrina, it's the printer that's bringing down two versions. Here in the Dharma Nazir, we have it once in the Dharma, once in Nazir over here, that it says Lishna Achrina, it also means like Ikadamri, that Gemara is bringing down a different version and everything that we spoke about.
Usually different.
Usually Ikadamri means that the Gemara is bringing down two versions, and Lishna Achrina means the printer is bringing down two versions. It could be like Nusach Hacha. And we found one place in the Dom, one place in Nazir now, that Lishna Achrina also means like Ikad Amri. It's another way of saying, another version that the Gemara is bringing down. This is not the
Which is
printer
more
talking. This
strong?
is
Do you know which one's
this, the
strong?
Gemara is bringing down. The Gemara is bringing it down to opinions. The Gemara is bringing down to versions. Of course, that's going to be stronger. By the printer, one of them is a mistake, and we got the wrong version. But here the Gemara is bringing down to opinions. So here goes. Amarav Tanufa ben Nazir.
So in this case, it means
It means Ikad Amri. It means like there's another version that the Gemara is bringing down of the whole issue we just spoke about. Rav said a statement, and then there's going to be a kasha teretz, and it's going to be a different version of what we said. It's going to be come out the opposite.
okay.
So everything we said yesterday is going to be a mirror version, maybe.
Okay.
I'm going to say pshat, and I don't know if everybody says it's pshat. Yeah, that's what I got out of it. That's how I was able to learn. It seems to be a little bit complicated, but I hope that'll go smoothly. So Rav said so far it's the same thing. Rav Tanufa ben Nazir Markevis. Same thing as Rav said in the first version. That Tanufa is Markev. And then what the problem yesterday? Then what's the problem today also? That it should have been telling the machlokas between Rabbi Elazar and the Rabbanan. If Rabbi Elazar says everything's Markev, so Tanufa is Markev. The Rabbanan said all you need is one of the sprinkler, one of the bloods, so it's not Markev. I'll leave it the man. I'll leave it the Rabbi Elazar Pshita. Rabbi Elazar Acham Maisim Kulam. According to Rabbi Elazar, it's Pshita that is Markev because everything's Markev. You have to have everything. So if you have to have everything, you have to have Tanufa also. How does it go again? 3 korbanos, Tiklachas, Tanufa, and then you do. Then he's mutar lishtos yain. So it's pshita. Yesterday's version said there's a chiddush. You might think that Tanufa is shiori korban and it's not ma'akev. Here the Gemara doesn't go like that. Here the Gemara says it can be a contra b'lezer pshita because everything's ma'akev. So Tanufa is also ma'akev. Allah libud Rabbanan. What much to say? Even according to Rabbanan that say that all you need is one of the bloods. You don't have to have everything. Everything's not makev. And tiglachas is not makev. Even a hikar is not makev. How could Rav mean to say that Tanufa is an exception and it's makev according to Rabbanan? According to Rabbanan, nothing's makev. As long as you had something. It's good enough. So even the hikar is not makev, and he's allowed to drink wine and come Tamil Mason. So it's Tanufa a question. Tanufa is only not makev. So far, the Gemara is the same as yesterday. Yesterday, the Gemara went on to say it's going according to Rabbi Elazar. Here, the Pashtus, I may be saying different than the Meforshim, but the Pashtus, the Gemara is going that he's going to say that it is Ma'akev according to the Rabbanan. Even the Rabbanan say it's not Ma'akev, Rabbi has a reason to say that Tanufa is Ma'akev. Big chiddush. Of course, if Tanufa is Ma'akev, you have to have Tanufa on what? You have to have Zroa B'Sheva. You have to have a Zroa of the aisle. So you can't say that you did the Karbachatas and you do Tanufa. What are you going to do Tanufa? Yeah, if Tanufa is Ma'akev, Rabbi's going to say that you have to have Tanufa. You have to have the korban shlomim, and you have to have the aisle cooked in order to be able to do this tanufa. That's what Rav. That the Gemara is going to take that side. According to this version, the Gemara is going to say that Rav means according to Rabbanan. That even the Rabbanan who say that not everything is ma'akev, but tanufa is ma'akev. As the Gemara is going to continue now, the Gemara, the lashon of the Gemara is going to be miloi ma'akev. The Gemara is bringing like a kasha, but the kasha means a kasha on your kasha. The Gemara is Rav said a statement. The Gemara attacked him. According to Rabbanan, surely it's not ma'akev. So Rav is going to, the Gemara is going to take the side of Rav and try to defend him by showing that tanufa is ma'akev. Umi lo ma'akev. This is I put it in green because this is defending Rav. The Gemara was attacking Rav, and now the Gemara is defending Rav. What's the defense of Rav? That it is ma'akev, and even though the Rabbanan say everything is not ma'akev, there's going to be a chiddush that tanufa is ma'akev. Umi lo ma'akev. Well, Tanya, zos Torahs hanazir, ben sheish lo kapayim, ben she'en lo kapayim. End of the defense. That this is the same price that we bought before, but before on the top of version, the Gemara brought this a proof to say that it is ma'akev, and this is the exact opposite. Here the Gemara is bringing this price and it thinks that it says that it's is ma'akev. Just to point out the top line, here the Gemara said Amima Akva. This Bryce says that it's not Ma'akev. The Gemara thought that this Bryce is saying that no difference if he has palms of hands or doesn't. And the Gemara thought that it means that it's not Ma'akev. And here the Gemara thinks that it's saying that it is Ma'akev.
Because they're assuming that they go with the first part. Is that right?
First part means
whether he has kapayim.
Or he doesn't. It's all the same.
No, he does. Yeah, and so
and which one is the given?
If he has kapayim, it's going to make.
How do you know that?
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
So the Rosh says over here.
Yesterday also.
Yesterday.
This is just talking about the procedure.
What do you mean the procedure? He's supposed to
what
do
he should do.
It says that's the question. What is the Bryce saying? The Bryce is saying that both of them are equated. There's no difference if he has hands or it doesn't have hands. There's no difference. What is the Bryce coming to say?
Well, I thought we learned somewhere else that you had, in the pasuk it says he'll put it in his hands and he should wave it.
Yeah, surely, that's talking
So-
about if he has
so if
hands,
he
he should wave it
doesn't,
now. Now, it doesn't say what if he doesn't, if it's marking or not, that doesn't say, and it doesn't say if he doesn't have hands. Here it says that there's no difference if he has hands or doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
And the Gemara thinks, that's the end of that's the end of this
He thinks
statement.
that means
I think that it says
that-
that it is marking. How do you see that? How do you see that in this brisa? So the Rosh says of Pshat, that it doesn't say in the Gemara too much, but you're supposed to figure it out. That the Gemara knows the Yisod of this. There's a I know what mentioned yesterday. There's a concept called Ein Roy Labila. Ein Roy Labila means that it's not fitting for mixing. Over there, that's talking about a korban mincha, and you're supposed to do bila, blula b'shemen. You have the sola as blula b'shemen. So you're supposed to take the flour and the semolina, we said, and the oil and mix it.
Yeah.
He didn't mix it. You didn't mix it. You put the oil, you put the solar, but you didn't mix it. Is it ma'akev? So there's a pasuk we learn out that it's not ma'akev. As long as you have the oil and the solar, even though the chatchila you're supposed to mix it. If he didn't mix it, it's still kosher.
The lashon of the cry is yes bila.
So it says mincha b'dula b'shemen. It always says b'dula b'shemen. But what if he didn't? Is it ma'akev? So there's a drasha that says it's not ma'akev. But Rabbi Zera, famous Rabbi Zera, he says has to be at least roy lebila. Because if you put so much 61, whatever, there's so many, such a big mincha that it's impossible to mix. It's too much to mix. Like the makbid, let's say, by making matzahs, they don't make such a huge quantity because you can't mix it well. So he says by a mincha you have solas and oil. If there's such a big quantity that you can't mix it well, it's too much of a quantity to be able to mix well. So it is ma'akev. Even though what's the problem? You don't have to mix it. Even if you didn't mix it, it's kosher. But Abzeh says it has to be roy labila. Called a roy labila in bila makevis. But ain't a roy labila, bila makevis. That even if you don't have to have that oil should actually be mixed, it has to at least be possible to mix. But if you can't mix it, so it is makev. The same concept you have also by a chatzitza. Let's say somebody has a chatzitza in his mouth. He has a chatzitza in his mouth. He has a piece of a toothpick, right? Stuck in. So the water doesn't have to go into the mouth. When a person goes to the mikveh, doesn't have to open his mouth. You don't need the water to go into his mouth. You're not close your mouth, but it has to be at least roy l'bias mine. It has to be that if he'd open his mouth, the water will be able to enter. But if he has a chatzitz in his mouth, it is a problem because it's not roy l'bias mine. If it's roy for the water to enter, so then even though it didn't enter, it's kosher. But if it's not possible, then it is market. That's the famous Yisod of Zera. Has to be at least roy. If it's not roy, it's market. So the Gemara expects us to know that. And according to this version, so here it says
it's not so difficult because it comes around probably.
But every time the Gemara says it, the Gemara gives Zera about 5 lines. Here the Gemara doesn't even say it, and the first lashon didn't mention it. The first version didn't have it at all. But here the Gemara, according to the Rosh's Pshat, the Gemara expects us to know that if he has no hands, even if you're going to say Tnufa's Ma'akev, Tnufa's not Ma'akev, as long as he has hands, so it's Roy Labila. But if it's not Roy Labila, if it's not possible to do Tnufa because he doesn't have hands, then surely it is Ma'akev. And that's what the Gemara's or something is over here, according to this version, that if he has no hands, it's surely Ma'akev. He can't do Tnufa. He can't do Tnufa. So it's Ma'akev. And here, Reb Zera is a general rule in the whole Shas that whenever it's not, even when it's kosher, but it has to at least be possible to do it. Even if you didn't do it, but it has to be at least be possible to do. So here the Gemara is assuming as a given that ein lo kapayim is that ein lo kapayim is surely ma'akev, that if he doesn't do tenufa because he can't do tenufa, he can't physically do tenufa because he has no hands. So it's surely ma'akev. And now that the pasuk says those Toros and Nazir to equate Yesh lo kapayim and ein lo kapayim, that means that just like ein lo kapayim is the given that it's not kosher because he can't do tenufa. So too, over here is an exception that even if he could, he does have hands and he has the ability to do tenufa, it's also ma'akev. Without the Rabbi pasuk, we would have said that if you cannot do it, so it's ma'akev. If you could do it, it's not ma'akev. And the Rabbanan say that it's not. These things are not ma'akev. One is good enough. So you don't need all 3 karbanas. You don't need Piglachas, you don't need tenufa. Only if ein lo kapayim, if you have no hands, you can't do it. Then it's not roy labila. Then it's not possible. But this pasuk says those Toros are nazir, that is coming to equate it. If it's coming to equate, it's coming to say that even if he has hands, it's also ma'akev. That's how the Gemara thought Pshat in his brisa, and that's going to be a support to Rav. Rav said that Tenufa's market because the pasuk says so, that having hands is as bad as not having hands, and by not having hands, it's given that it's not good because it's not possible to do Tenufa. It's not Roy Labila. Even if he has hands and it is Roy Labila, it's also market.
If he didn't bring, if he didn't do
Do the Tenufa, that's what Rav
I
said.
mean, I would understand that because
The Gemara is
not saying that.
no, the Gemara is saying it, but the Gemara is making like a big chiddush. You can't say it's gold. The Gemara asked the kasha that according to Rabbanan, for sure it's not market. Elaim leave it to Rabbanan. Tiglachas is not market. Tenufa is market. So the Gemara be surprised to support Rav that Tenufa is market because the pasuk says that those Torahs are nazir. There's no difference if he has hands or doesn't have hands, and if he doesn't have hands, that's the given that it's not good because it's not roy labila. And the pasuk says that Yesh Lo Kapayim is the same status. That means that even if he has hands, here Tenufa is going to be market. And even though the Rabbanan said that anything is good enough, you don't need everything. You just need anything, but you have to have Tenufa. So that's the way that the Gemara is supporting Rav. Rav said Tenufa is the market. The Gemara Kasha according to Rabbanan as a pshita. They're not talking about it. According to Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan say that you don't need everything. Even the Glachas is not market. But the Gemara supports Rav that this brisa says that Tenufa is market because of a special pasuk that equates Yesh Lo Kapayim to Ein Lo Kapayim. Just like Ein Lo Kapayim is not Yotzei, is market because he doesn't have the ability to do it even. So too Yesh Lo Kapayim. Even if he has and he could, but he has market. The Gemara thinks that it was supporting Rav. And even according to Rabbana, Tenufa is market. The Gemara continues. You got the wrong shot in the brisa. The Brisa says also not only as far as not having hands, also about not having hair. Not having hair.
Oh.
What do you say about not having hair? You're going to say that the Brisa means that if he has no hair, so he's not royal labila. He's talking about tiglachas now. He's supposed to have a haircut. But if he doesn't have hair, he's bald. He can't have a haircut, even if he wants to. So you're going to say the same shot in the Brisa that if he doesn't have hair, if he's bald, so that's surely market. Tiglachas is market, and therefore you're going to say that since the I'm sorry.
So when he does have,
Even if he has hair, the pasuk is equating it. Those Torahs are nazir. No difference if he has hair or doesn't have hair. What's that going to mean? That just like if he doesn't have hair, it's ma'akev. Even if he has hair, it's ma'akev. Now the Gemara could have stopped right here and said, "What are you talking about?" And that surely can't be because the Rabbanan say tiglachas is not ma'akev, or that's how it's assumed the whole time. The Rabbanan say one is enough. Here the Gemara is saying maybe one of the kabbalas is enough, but you surely have to have tiglachas according to this havamina. The Gemara is asking you who learn that the brisa that equates kapayim, no kapayim means that it's always ma'akev. You're going to learn the other brisa that says that hair, no hair, it's all the same. That means that everything's ma'akev. You're going to say that's what you're going to say. That if he has no hair, it's not roy labila. He can't have hair. So then it's surely ma'akev. And even if he has hair, the pasuk is going to say that also it's ma'akev. Is that true? The Gemara is a brisa that shows that it's not true. But Tanya, nazir memorat, a bald nazir.
I'm sorry, Hachi.
Hachinami de ma'akva. Are you going to say that it's tiglachas is ma'akev? That if he didn't take a haircut, it's ma'akev? And even if he has hair, it's ma'akev because the pasuk equates having hair to not having hair. And you're going to say just like not having hair is pashut that it's ma'akev because it's an ain't a roy labila. He can't do a haircut if he wants to. So too, even if he has hair and he didn't take a haircut, you're going to say that it's ma'akev. But Tanya, the Gemara has a brisa that it's not ma'akev. Nazir memorat, a bald nazir. The Gemara is learning the simple words of the brisa. The Beishamai says he doesn't have to do anything, and Beisil says he does have to pass the razor over his head, and that means that. What does that mean?
That means that he's doing a symbolic action, and therefore he's yours. Therefore it's a valid nazir.
And the brisa cannot mean that when he has no hair, he can't get out of his nazirus. Because Beishamai says he doesn't have to do anything. Beisil says he has to. No, you know too much already.
Yesterday.
But we're starting a new version today.
Oh, so the whole thing is.
So this version, it said Beishamai says you don't need to do anything. Beisil says you need to pass the razor over his bald head, and that doesn't say. Nobody says that Ein Lo Seir he is Ein Roy Labila and he can't get out of it. You're assuming that the brisa means Ein Lo Kapayim means the Ein Lo Roy Labila. It's ma'akev. Ein Lo Seir is Ein Roy Labila, so it's ma'akev. Nobody says that it's ma'akev. A bald person who's a nazir, nobody says it's ma'akev. They can't get out of it. Beishamai says he doesn't have to do anything, and Beisil says that he has to pass the razor over his head, but nobody says that he's stuck. So your pshat in the brisa by Ein Lo Kapayim is wrong because by Ein Lo Seir it can't mean that.
We're saying the Beis Shammai, the Einot Tzarich doesn't mean there's no tikkun.
Right.
Changing it.
Right.
You don't need.
You
just
don't need anything, everything's
No.
fine. So you can't do the glass, you can't do the glass. Right.
No, he's saying that you don't have to do anything, it's.
I don't know which Lakish is.
Reish Lakish.
It hasn't been the past couple of days.
Figure, what am I saying? Beit Hillel,
They should be on Beis Shammai.
Beit Shammai, sticha, Beit Shammai, Beit Shammai.
He's saying a kula according to this, the Basham says you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
He still says he has to pass a razor over his bald head. But everybody says that he's not a goner. He's not like Ein Lo Mala Asot. Nobody says that Ein Lo Seir is not Roy the Bila, so he can't do Tiglacha, so he can't get out of the Naziris. Nobody says that. So if so, you got the wrong shot in the Brisa. And therefore, the Brisa before also doesn't mean that is nothing what to do. We're going to say, like this will be the opposite. The Brisa will mean that Yesh Lo Seir is like Ein Lo Seir is like Yesh Lo Seir, just like Yesh Lo Seir is supposed to pass a razor over his head. So Ein Lo Seir is also supposed to pass a razor over his head, even though it's only going through the motions. It's not cutting anything because nothing's there. But the Brisa is just saying go through the motions, and so too the Brisa before that you told us to support the Rav. It's not a support the Rav because what did the Brisa say? There's no difference if he has hands, doesn't have hands. You know what it means? That when he has hands, he's supposed to put the tenufa, the zro b'shela, etc. He's supposed to put it onto his hands. So if he has no hands, he's also supposed to go through the motions and put it on his arms that he does have. That's what the brisa means. If you see that the brisa by hair means that someone that doesn't have hair should act as if he does have hair. So someone who doesn't have hands should act as if he does have hands. And that's all the brisa says. So Rav, we're coming back to attack again. You said that the tenufa is ma'akev v'korbanan, and you thought that you had a brisa that says so. You don't have a brisa that says so. The brisa doesn't say that having hands is as bad as not having hands. The brisa says that not having hands should do the same as having hands, and it doesn't say anything about being ma'akev. So the Gemara is attacking Rav. Amar Rabbi Yavina, my tzarech lebeis Hillel, tzarech ve'en lo takana. You know what Beis Hillel says? When Beis Hillel says tzarech, these words, Beis Hillel omem tzarech, that he has to pass a razor over his head. You know what he means to say? It doesn't mean that he passes a razor over his bald head. It means he has to cut hair, and he can't cut his hair. Therefore, ein lo takana. This is the opposite of yesterday. Yesterday, the Gemara Rabbi Ravina said it in Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai means tzorech, ein lo tzorech means ein lo takana. Now the Gemara is saying the opposite. Ravina is saying it in Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel who said tzorech, they don't mean to say that he has to pass the razor over his head. They mean he has to take a haircut, and he doesn't have hair to cut, so there's no eitzah to get out of it.
Well, so now it's a kush on. I mean, it's kasher on Beis Hillel. That he doesn't have a takana.
What's the question?
That
Beis Hillel says he has no takana, and Rav is very happy. Rav says, let's go back to the brisa. I read the brisa correctly. That ein lo kapayim is a problem because he has no ein lo bila, ein lo bila. He surely is puzzled. He can't get out of the nazirus because he has no way to get out of it. So yesh lo kapayim.
Is that how it is? He's using the
yes. That ein lo kapayim is can't get out of it, and therefore ein lo kapayim is a given that he can't get out of the nazirus because he can't do tenufa, and therefore the pasuk says yesh lo kapayim is the same thing, that the tenufa is ma'akev, and the end of the brisa means the same thing. If he has hair, doesn't have hair, that if he doesn't have hair, it's ma'akev, like Beis Hillel says, tzarech ve'en lo takana, and therefore he's saying that if he has hair, it's also going to be so. Tiglachas is ma'akev. The point in this new reading, Beis Hillel is going to say that if he has no hair, it's ma'akev, and even if he has hair, it's ma'akev, which is really a big problem because we're going to Rabbanan. Everybody quotes Rabbanan the whole time. Tiglachas is not ma'akev. Now we're saying a new thing that one of the bloods are okay, but tiglachas is ma'akev and tenufa is ma'akev. And the Gemara ends off. Amar Avina myself Beis Hillel tzarech ve'en lo takana. Beis Shammai says the one who says yesh lo takana. Beis Shammai you said it's opposite of yesterday. Beis Shammai said Beis Shammai ein tzarech l'har b'tar al rosho. Ein tzarech l'har b'tar al rosho. They say yesh lo takana is going to mean that he doesn't have to cut hair. He could just pass the razor over his bald head. Mamish the opposite of what we thought yesterday. Beis Hillel is the one who said that. Beis Shammai says
we see that Beis Shammai is actually making.
No, he thought so. That was only what the one I thought. But now, if you go 2 lines later, Beis Hillel says that ein lo takana, and Beis Shammai is saying that he has a takana.
Takana means that it is ma'akev.
No, takana means yesh lo takana, ein lo takana. Ein lo takana means that he has no way to get out of it. because it doesn't help to take a razor over his head. And he can't cut here, so he can't. So he's stuck. He can't get out of his naziros. And Beishamai says he has a way to get out of his naziros by piercing the razor. Ma'akev means if he doesn't do it, then he can't get. Then it's essential, and he didn't do it. So
when there's a takana, then it means if he doesn't do the takana, it's going to mark it. Isn't that what I mean?
He has a takana, coincidence.
Yeshlo takana, I thought meant that it's going to be market.
Yeshlo takana means he can get out of it. Enlo takana means he can't get out of it. Enlo takana means that this bald nazir can't get out of his naziros because he's supposed to cut his hair and he can't cut his hair. So enlo takana, he has no way to fix
And
himself
that's
up.
called market.
That's called market, right? Beishamai says that he has what to do. It doesn't say if he doesn't. If it doesn't say according to Beishamai, it doesn't say if he doesn't do it as a market or not. That he doesn't talk about. He just says that he has a way to get out of it. He's saying it's mashma that if he wouldn't do this, then he would. It doesn't say before it's market. It could be he has what to do the mitzvah of teglachas, but it doesn't say it's market or not. But according to Beis Hillel, it says ein lo takana, which the Gemara is taking to mean ein lo takana to get out of the nazir. So it could be that you're right. That Beishamai also would agree that it's market if he doesn't do anything. But what the Gemara's point is that Beis Rav is going back to his way of learning the Brisa, that it is comparing Yesh Lo to Ein Lo. Ein Lo is a given that it's Ma'akev, because it's not Roy Labila, and therefore it is Ma'akev if he has no hands, and so too it's Ma'akev if he has hands. He doesn't do Tenufa. And by the hair, if he doesn't have hair, it is Ma'akev. What does that mean? According to Beis Hillel, there's no way to get out of it, and it's Ma'akev. According to Beis Shammai, he could pass the razor over his head. Maybe if he doesn't pass the razor over, it's also Ma'akev. And therefore, even if he has hair also, and it's possible to do it, but he just didn't do it, maybe it's also market. That's what the Bryce is saying, that we're equating Yesh Lo to Ein Lo. And it comes out, according to this reading, that Tiglachas is market and Tenufa is market. And even though the Rabbanan said that he did one thing, Maisi Yechidi is good enough, it comes out Maisi Yechidi, but don't forget about Tiglachas and Tenufa, those things are market.
When he has no hair, that includes the beard, or the beard does that?
No, there's no din of a Nazir to do anything with his beard. His beard is like
Just the head. Okay.
anybody else's beard. It's interesting. We don't think of that. We think of a Nazir with a long beard and a long hair. He could be shaven like anybody else would shave, kosher way of shaving without a razor, and he has long hair. Today we would call that a hippie or something like that. But if we'd expect the Nazir to have a beard, but the Nazir doesn't have to have a beard more than anybody else. It's just that they're not to cut over the razor or a close shave. But there's no halacha about it. And when he cuts his head, the Nazir is supposed to do tiglachas, it's only on his head, it's not his beard. He doesn't cut his beard. And the Gemara ends off just two more words. According to this version, Ravina is the opposite of Rabbi Pedas, because Rabbi Pedas was yesterday. He's the one who said that Rabbi Beishamai yesterday they brought down the Mishnah about a Metzora that's supposed to be put the blood and the oil on his thumb and on his toe, and if he doesn't have a thumb or toe, he has no way to get out of it. Rabbi Lezer said, and Rabbi Pedas said that's the same as Beishamai, because Rabbi Pedas learned that Beishamai is the one who says Ein Lo Takana, and now Ravina is saying that Rabbi Beis Hillel is the one who says Ein Lo Takana. So Ravina is arguing on Rabbi Pedas according to this version. So yes.
Is there somewhere on the page where it says Ein Ruila Bila?
No.
It's not on this page.
And not in the Gemara text, it's on the Rush's text if you want.
Yeah,
The Rush is
I want it.
the Rush is in the second wide
I just
line.
want to see how to spell it. So.
Beis Yod Lamed Usfir Lei.
Lamed
Kishem
Ayin, Lamed Ayin, no?
What is that?
Lamed Ayin, I thought.
What does Lamed Ayin mean?
Oh, I thought it was swallowing. No.
No, it's mixing. Balula.
And Ru'ui, does it have an olive in it?
Here it is. Kol she'ein ro'oi lebila bila makeves.
Where?
Just want the words alone. It's right here.
Ru'ui does have an olive. Bila, I see with a hay, mixing.
Just to read the one line.
Ru'ui.
Achi pirusho. Just like when he has no hands, shores ma'akev. Because if it's not roy for mixing, bila mixing is ma'akev. That's a famous quote.
Yeah.
And he says about 5 times on the page after that. And the Gemara doesn't mention it. The Gemara wants us to know that. And in the first lashon that the Gemara said yesterday's version didn't enter the arena. We didn't talk about it. And we spoke about not having hands, that is pasha, that there wasn't a reason to be worse. Just if anything, a reason to be better. That's a given that it does help. What you do, it doesn't have a choice. And here the Gemara throws it in without even telling us that there's a new concept that if he can't, even if he wanted to, because he has no hands, he has no hair, that makes it worse. And that's how the Gemara comes out, that is according to Rav, Tenufa is Ma'akev, Tiluach is Ma'akev. It's quite difficult, this whole shot. I think it reads pretty nicely,
Is it the
but
halacha? Is
no,
it
because the halacha is,
by Rabbanan?
Baruch.
oh, but it does make a difference.
Must.
Oh, wait a second, they have to point to this shot. The Rambam's not going to say so. According to this shot, the Rosh, who says this shot, even though he passed like the Rabbanan, that you don't have to have everything.
Right.
It's enough to have Maisi Yechidi, one thing, but the Gemara says, according to Rav, Tenufa's market, even according to Rabbanan. So if the Rosh would be paskin, it could be the Rosh is going to paskin that Tiglachas is market, Tenufa is market, which is a big chiddush. I don't know if he's going to say it for Maisa, but it could be the Rosh, even though he starts off this shot, I'm not sure if he says it the way I said it, so I won't say the name of the Rosh. It's my own shot. And with the halacha is not like that. The halacha is going to be passed like the Rabbanan, and Tiglachas is not market, Tenufa is not market. That's what the halacha goes. Okay, so to sum up the halacha of this Gemara, Tiglachas is not ma'akev, and Tenufa I think is also not ma'akev. That's first time in the Mishnah, and even though there is a shita that says that Tiglachas is ma'akev and Tenufa is ma'akev, that's Rabbi Elazar, but according to Rabbanan, Tiglachas and Tenufa are not ma'akev. So he's supposed to bring 3 kavanas and bring the do Tiglachas and then do Tenufa, and after that he drinks wine. But we're going to pass him like the Rabbanan that as long as he put one of their kabbanas, it's not market. The rest of it is not market him from drinking wine. If that's good, we go on to the next Mishnah.
The whole Tenufa being Ma'akev is only according to this Rebbe Zera, right?
That's the second lashon. The first lashon yesterday didn't mention Rav Zera. Rav said Tenufa's market yesterday. If we go on yesterday's lashon,
Yeah.
Rav said Tenufa's market, and the Gemara came out the pshat that you said in the beginning right away. There was a push of pshat. The Gemara didn't know until the end of the Gemara that the Brisa that says the Gemara the Kasha and Rav said it's market according to Rabbi Elazar, not according to Rabbanan.
Because we were looking at when he doesn't have hands.
Right, and the Brisa says that having hands and not having hands is the same thing.
Mhm.
And you said that all it means is that he should put it on his arm. He doesn't have palms, and that's all it says. It doesn't say that it's not ma'akev. And Rav says that it is ma'akev according to Rabbi Elazar. According to the first law, it's only according to Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says everything's ma'akev, and there's even a kasha. What's the chiddush? Of course, it's ma'akev. So the Gemara said it's a chiddush. You might think that Tufa's here is not Yosef Korban without that, so also he could drink wine without that. So that the Gemara said Rav saying according to Rabbi Elazar is ma'akev. That was yesterday's Gemara.
So we didn't need that.
We didn't need one. We didn't need the bila. Yeah, we didn't bring that at all. In fact, we said that it's not a problem if he doesn't have hand, put it on his arm.
Mhm.
And the Gemara didn't know that in the beginning, so the Gemara said he doesn't have to do anything. Today, the Gemara throws in, without saying it, that he has to be roy labila. If it's not roy labila, it's not market.
Right.
This famous thing of Rav Zera, just to point out as a footnote, that this member of Rav Zera is quoted, and many times it's misquoted. They quote Rav Zera as if he means to say that if something, as long as you could do it, it's good enough. As long as you could do it, it's good enough, even though you didn't actually do it.
Mhm.
And people ask kasha sometimes, but the truth is that's a mistake. There's no such Rav Zera.
As long as you
Rav Zera
could
wasn't
do it.
coming to say a kula. He's coming to say a chumrah. He's not coming to say as long as
You
you
have
could
to
do
be
it.
able to have.
Right. Even if there's a source, you have to have a source to say something's not market. Like bila. He's not going to say the Torah says do bila, and he's going to say if you could do bila, it's good enough. No, Rav Zera can't say such a thing. The Torah says do it. There has to be a special drasha to say bila is not market. Rav Zera comes to say a chumrah, even if something's not market, but if you can't do it, it is market. He's coming to say a chumrah. Let's say.
Well,
Is-
normally it's not Ma'akev, and then there's a
Right.
chumrah that it is
Right.
Ma'akev.
Let's say there's the water of the mikveh have to go into somebody's mouth. So Reb Zera is not going to say as long as it could, it's good enough. It's like saying you don't have to go into the mikveh. You could go into the mikveh, it's good enough. Reb Zera is not going to say that. That's not as far to say since you could do it, you don't have to do it. He's coming to say even when the Torah says something's not ma'akev, but it still has to be possible to do it. If it's not possible to do it, so then it is ma'akev. Just to remember Reb Zera. Sometimes they saw even the Choshev and Mefarshim, they made a mistake about this. But it's pashut that's what Reb Zera means. He's coming to say a chomer, not a kula.
And so if he had like an egg in his mouth or something,
If you had something,
anything in his mouth, then is would be
it's
considered.
talk about something which is I don't know the details, but something which is we consider a chatzitza is a chatzitza even if it's in his mouth.
For
You have to
example,
take
let's
out-
speak about will be a case of he has stima.
Yeah, all kinds of fillings, whatever it might be. That might you have a toothpick, a piece of dirt in between the two teeth. That's considered a chatzitza. The women before they go to the mikveh, they make sure that they have no chatzitza in their mouth also.
Uh-huh.
So why is that? Even though you don't have to
Oh,
open
you
your
have
mouth.
to open it.
But it has to be royal to be a smile. It has to be at least royal. Okay, new Mishnah. If that's good, we continue. So what do we say? That you have the kabbanas, 3 kabbanas, and then the tiglachas, and then the tenufa. Then you may drink wine. What if he did the tiglachas before any of the karbanas?
He did the
sounds
tiglachas
so good.
before the covenants.
And
But it is,
Up to
but
now
it's
we
after
said
the
they need
30
one.
days.
It's after the 30 days, he's ready to bring his karbanas. He took a haircut before he bought the karbanas.
up till now, we only has to do at least one.
One.
A sprinkling.
Yes, yes. And now we want to know what if he did, that was about drinking water.
It seems to be my-
That was about drinking. Now we're talking about, and we said also that there's my focus a couple of pages ago already, that the Glachas Atara Ketzad, that the Mishnah says, "Gilach halachas mishloshtan yaseh." There was a Mishnah on Daf Mem Hey that said that if you took a haircut after one of the karbanas, is good enough.
Well, that's a-
He has to have at least one of the karbanas. But if he didn't have any of the karbanas, so then it wasn't a good Glachas. Does he start all over again? He did his time. He did his Nazir's time. So there was a Mishnah a while ago about Lametes over there. It spoke about if listing, if robbers, I don't know what the robber's intention was, but they gave him a haircut after the time. He took a haircut. Over there it said Lametes. Gilach or Shigulchu listing. So it says social Lamed. He doesn't have to do the whole Nazir's over again,
Right.
but he has to have hair. He has to have hair in order to do it to Glachas. And that, so here,
He's holding his ears for 30 days, let's just say. So
So he has
now
to
he's
do it
got to do
again?
another 30 days.
Yes.
Because- Right, you know,
If
he's
it's
really
was
got to
there.
do his whole, he's got to do it all over again.
no, he doesn't have to do it all. He has to do 30 days worth of hair. And therefore, if he had a 7-year in the zeros
Right.
and he cut his hair, it happens to be 30 days, the same as
Right.
30 days.
No, that's not-
But it could be all, but the point is to say that he has to get his hair back. He has to be able to cut hair. Some say that it's just to get hair. We saw Rambam and Taisus over there. And maybe it's the extension of the Naziris. He has to have at least have, an Agmar might say it's an extension of the Naziris. He has to have 30 days before he does the Tiglachas. Here, that he cut his hair before the Karbanis, so it wasn't a good Tiglachas. It's not taking a haircut. It's like Yilchul Liston. It's like if robbers came and gave him a haircut. So he has to have 30 days again.
And of course, he has to do the karbanis before the tiglach at the
Right,
He's got to do a correction for what he didn't do the first
right.
one.
The Tiglachas he did before the Karban wasn't good.
Mhm.
He has to let his hair grow another 30 days and then bring the Karbanis, or at least one, and then do the Tiglachas correctly.
Okay, so I have a question. You didn't read it yet, but my question is, why, you said he cut
Is
his
it
hair?
going to be on what it says?
Mhm.
So let's read it first.
Okay,
Yeah, because they'll know, is going to understand what your question is.
okay.
Gilach ala zevach
Question, and on the second word,
Gilach ala zevach.
why does it say al? Why didn't it say lifnei? We're talking about that he cut his hair before he did anything. Why did you use the word al?
No, it doesn't mean that. It means he
What
took a
is it?
haircut after the zevach.
Huh?
Doesn't mean, it means he took a haircut after one carbon.
Maybe just give an introduction before, he didn't say.
I just said introduction to be able to lead up into to learn I didn't say a Mishnah yet.
Okay,
I just said the givens. The givens are that he has to take a haircut after at least one carbon.
oh,
If he
okay.
took a haircut without, then this is now we're coming into the Mishnah. What if he took a haircut?
Okay, I thought,
L'gilach ala zevach v'nimtza pasum. He did do correctly. He waited for a korban, and then he took a haircut. So everyone will say it's fine.
Right.
well, what was,
But then they find that the korban was possible.
Corbin was facing.
So it wasn't a good korban. So it's if he took the korban, he took a haircut without the korban. Tiglach to psula.
Nice.
Uzevach
He has
lo.
a real case of, what do you call it, of honest. He was.
Well,
That's not,
well,
but
it was
that's
a
not the point.
mistake.
The whole system is also an honest. The robbers came and held him down to give him a haircut.
Mhm.
So
He's
he has to do 30 days again.
Sorry, 30 days.
He has to do 30 days. You know, we feel bad for him, whatever you want to give him.
Well, here you're gonna even feel more bad
Yeah,
because
right.
his zevach didn't.
So his Evach was puzzled that it comes out whatever happened wrong with the carbon. It wasn't a good carbon. It could be that it was treifa, or it talks about if the blood spilled out. They didn't get to make the carbon.
Oh, I
So
see. So then why did it have to say that it doesn't go up for him? Of course, if it's puzzle, of course it doesn't go up.
so Yaakov was reading ahead. So far we just said psula. The glachta psula. We said that the haircut is a puzzle haircut, and he has to have another 30 days and then do it right. But the Mishnah says even more. Uzvacham lo alolo. The carbonis don't count. Maybe Yaakov asks, of course the carbonis are not good. That was the case. The carbon was puzzle. So the point is that gilach ala zevach, and here it says vachav. That means he had, let's say, 3 carbonis, chatas, ola, and shlama. He brought the chatas. He took a haircut. No tinus yet. He's okay. And then he brought also the ola and the shlama. And then they find that the chatas was passing. But the Ola and the
The
Shlomo.
first one,
The
the,
first one,
Yeah.
but the Ola and the Shlomo were kosher.
Ah, so it should be
Oh.
good then.
See, here,
No,
so it
but
should
you
be
already-
good.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't it be
Why
good?
should be good?
Why should the
Because-
Korbanos not
Because
be
you
good?
already did the tiglachas before the two kosher ones.
no, because
But,
he needs full hair, he needs 30 days of hair,
Oh,
maybe.
maybe you'll take the same thing that Moshe was saying. What's the problem? The Korbanos, the Ola and the Shlomo were before, were,
Tiglachas before that.
but it wasn't a good Teglachas. So we'll do Teglachas later. You're gonna make
30 days
it,
later,
yes,
and
but the
can you
Korban,
drink
but,
wine in that time?
no.
So then he's like, they're gonna get, so what's he getting?
Or was it, could he drink wine? Yeah, could say drink wine also maybe,
Really?
because he bought the carbon. Why is the carbon not good? He bought a carbon before the teglachas. He's saying his teglachas are going to be there 30 days more.
But it's not kosher, it wasn't kosher, so.
What wasn't kosher?
The first korban.
The first, the chatas wasn't good, but the Ola and the Shlomo were
They
good.
came after the tiglachas.
So what's the problem?
So then, that's the whole problem. The problem is that he has to bring a kosher korban before.
So he's
And now
bringing,
you
so
want
the
kosher.
teglachas is going to be in 30 days. You're telling him, we tell Rabbi, your teglachas wasn't good, it's going to be in 30 days. Come back again in 30 days.
But everything else is good and he
So,
can.
no, so the question will be, why, Moshe is asking, why the Ola Shlomo was a good carbon, what's the problem? Well, he counted his 7 years already, whatever, he has it in the zeros, he did it well, everything was fine. He went to be in the korban, he took a mistake, then he bought the chatas, and he thought it was kosher, he did a haircut, and then the Ola and the Shlomo were good, and then he found out the chatas is no good. So we tell him, Rabbi, you have to come back in 30 days with a chatas and a haircut. But what's with the Ola and the Shlomo? So Leib Yaakov, maybe that's also you mean to say that since we tell him you have to do another 30 days of hair,
Yes.
so we consider you in middle of the Naziros. That's a big chiddush. It's not just to get here. If it's just to get here, so then he'll get here in 30 days, and he finishes in Naziros already. So the chiddush is that since the hair was not a good haircut because it was before the chatas,
Right.
and he has to have another 30 days of hair, we look at it as if he's still in the middle of the Naziros.
Wow.
So he can't bring the kabbanis that he bought was still in the middle of the Naziros. It's a big chiddush. Maybe you think it's pashut, so that's why he's saying it's pashut. But
He's
that's what-
another for 30 days, and you can't drink.
Right.
wine.
here it says, that's the Tosfos says it over here. The Rosh also says the same thing. Uzvachav la'alulo, shara zvachim sheikir v'achri etiglachas psula.
Yeah.
The other kabbanis, the Ola, the Shlomo that he
Right.
bought after he did a beit tiglachas la'alulo. Why? Since he has to wait till his hair's going to grow back, and he wasn't able to do the tiglachas because he has to wait 30 days. So when he bought the Ola and the Shlomo after the haircut, which wasn't a good haircut, so yesh lahachshiv azvachim kilu ikriv kodem otoch melos, as if he's still in the middle of the Naziros. Big chiddush.
What were you just reading, the Rush?
I was reading this is the Tosfos over here.
The Tosfos,
The Rosh does the same thing, but a smaller thing.
oh, way up here.
Okay. So now,
Well,
Gilach al hazevach v'nim saposel deglach tabsula zvachim la'ololo. Next case. The next case, once we accept the first halacha, the next is not going to be such a big chiddush. Gilach al chata shlo lishma v'yachka chayvin karbonosel lishma deglach tabsula v'zvachim la'ololo. It's more or less a repeat of another application. The first case was the zevach was puzzle. Why was it puzzle? Because there was a treifa or the blood spilled out, whatever it might be. Here's a case that he did a chata shelo lishma. The halacha, just a little background. Every korban, kol hazvachim, the beginning of Masechus Zvachim starts, kol hazvachim sheniz v'chu shelo lishman, kishera v'lo alu lo bailim, l'shem chol, v'chutz mi chatos Pesach. There are two korbanos that, if you did shelo lishma, the korban is puzzle. We're already 30 yom before Pesach, might as well mention it, that a korban Pesach is one of the two korbanos that if you did a shelo lishma, it's not a good korban, it's puzzle. If you did a korban Pesach, not for a korban Pesach, he did it for a shlomim or something else. He did everything right, but he had the wrong kavanah, so it's possible. Also, korban chatas is also two exceptions: chatas and Pesach. The korban chatas is someone did shalom lishma.
that's a chizuk to this idea of doing another, because the chatat was the first chatat was the wrong.
This is not good anything.
Oh.
This is an independent halacha. Maseches Bachim.
Okay.
If someone bought a korban chatas shalom lishma, the korban is possible.
But here we're adding that the tiglachas,
So now we're saying if this would be the case that he bought a korban chatas and he took a haircut,
excuse me.
he bought a chatas shalom lishma, he took a haircut, and then he bought the ola and the shlamim. So the tiglachas is not good because the korban chatas was not good. Since we
Right.
know this halacha, so instead of saying nimsa pasul, it's another application of nimsa pasul. Before we said zebach nimsa pasul, chatas shalom lishma is called pasul. So if he did the korban chatas shalom lishma, then took a haircut, then brought the Ola Nishlamim. We tell them that the Chata Shalom Lishma was possible. So you took a haircut before any korban. You didn't take any korban. You have to have at least one of the korbanos. You didn't have any of the korbanos. So the glachas was not good, and the Ola Nishlamim that you brought were in the middle of your new Nazirus. We tell you have to have 30 days more, and it's the middle of your Nazirus, and therefore the Ola Nishlamim was also not good. They're also not good.
Is it left after the chatas? Why did it mention that?
After chatas, because we just said the Mishnah Zvachim says that all the korbanos Shalom Lishman is a kosher korban. The owner doesn't get credit for it. I'll explain that in a minute. Only chatas and pesach are the exceptions that is even possible. So far, the Mishnah says a simple case that a chatas shalom lishma is possible.
Had he brought an asham, lo lishma would have been good.
One second.
In other words, if he would have brought the Ola.
Ola shalom lishma. Let's talk about an Ola shalom lishma.
Yeah,
Someone
according
brought an
to
Ola
the
shalom
order, I think
lishma.
the Ola was first.
No, chatas is first. Chatas Ola shalom.
That is lo lishma. Okay.
You can look at
No, I think that's if he was
No,
Tama.
that's what he said yesterday.
that's the chatas Ola Asham.
Oh,
It's the
and here-
chatas Ola shlomim.
oh,
But it's
okay,
also
so
the
they
chatas
just have it in the
Ola.
wrong order. Yeah, I thought they did it by the
What did they do?
pasuk. I thought you're going. We go from right to left.
Ola. Not question.
Yeah.
Just look in the pasuk a
About that.
second.
Is the pasuk on the top there? Is the pasuk there? Is that the pasuk?
Yeah. Usually the chatas goes first.
Okay. But in the first case, when we said zevach, it didn't matter. But now they want to say chatas because the chatas is going
Yes,
to be.
you want to see by you want to know by a
You're just
Nazir
saying. that-
Tame.
Uh-huh.
By the Nazir Tame. Chatas Tame. Okay, so there was the chatas was first. You want to know by a Tame if the chatas goes before, even though it says Ola first. Okay, side question. I don't know. I'm pretty sure chatas goes first, but we'll leave it. But here we're talking about Nazir's Tara. We're talking about the Torah person.
Yeah.
Chatas first.
And they want the
And the Mishnah said on
chatas
Bam-
because of the special law that if it's lo lishma,
right.
it's
So
not.
it's possible.
It's possible.
So chatas shalom lishma is possible, and this person that brought a couple chatas shalom lishma, and then he took a haircut, and then he did the Ola Nishlamim, that was fine.
I
But
see.
it comes out that the chatas was possible, so the haircut was before anything. So the haircut was not a good haircut. He needs 30 days more of hair, and therefore the Ola and the Shlamim that he brought is as if he brought it in the middle of the Nazirus, and
Doesn't
also
have any effect.
nothing. We tell him come back for 30 days.
Do the whole thing
Come back
again.
with 3 korbanos
That's
in
right.
30 days.
And what did we say about the Ola, that he did the Ola in the beginning and it
So
wasn't?
now
Lishma?
let's see next case, second line. Let's say the Ola was the first korban and it was Shalom Lishma. And then he brought the other korban, took a haircut and brought the other korbanos. Or the Shlamim was first, even though he did the wrong order, but the Shlamim was the one that Shalom Lishma, took a haircut, brought the other korbanos afterwards. So
Is the Otzi,
what would we
do
say?
that.
So what's the Ola Shalom Lishma? What's the din of Ola Shalom Lishma? So we go to Zvachim, the first Mishnah, Kol Zvachim Shenizbuchu Shalom Lishma,
Shave.
Ksherim, Aval Lo Ola L'Shem Bailam.
Oh,
It doesn't get credit for it. It's a kosher korban. It's as far as the korbans. Let's say someone bought a shlamim. Say someone made a neder, a real shlamim, and he bought the shlamim shalom lishma. So the korban shlamim is a kosher korban shlamim, but it has nothing to do with him. It means if he has a real shlamim, he has to bring another shlamim. It doesn't get. It's not credit. It's not attributed to him. It's a kosher korban, but it has nothing to do with him. If he has a chova to bring it,
Who eats it?
whoever's supposed to eat it. It could be as far
He
as.
would eat it.
Yeah, but he
He would
bought
eat
a
his
regular
portion,
shlamim, but it's nothing to do
but
with
he
it.
didn't get
Nothing to do with it,
any.
right? And if he's supposed to bring a ola for some reason, and a real ola, whatever the case would be,
He'd
if he
still be
get-
owed. He would
it still owes it. But it's a kosher korban. So what do you say?
Help
about
him
it?
for his,
It doesn't happen for his Naziros.
No, for sure.
So since it doesn't happen for his Naziros, so what would you say? That this case that he did the Ola Shalom Lishma, it's also the same problem, that it doesn't count for him. So he cut his hair without having his korban. It's very nice. So here you bought a korban Shlomim, you could have bought an Ola, very nice. But it's nothing to do with the Naziros over here. So you took your haircut without bringing
Back
your
in
korban
30 days,
Naziros.
that's-
So wait 30, you're middle of your 30 days haircut, hair growing.
And all the
And
other
come
ones
back
also,
So that's what it says. Kilach ala ola ala shlamim shelo lishman v'achar chevi koven oso lishman tiklachto psula v'zbachol ola. So far it says the same thing. That there's no difference achata so ola. It's only difference as far as it's a kosher korban or not. But as far as him, it's not attributed to him. So here also the Tanakhama says that it's the same as before. But here Rav Shimon argues. Rav Shimon, but here's what to argue over here. Rav Shimon says that this is different. Rav Shimon Omer also azevach lo ola lo avol sharas vachim olu. That the korban that he doesn't get credit for, but it doesn't stop the rest of the korbanos. So if he brought a ola or a shlamim shalom lishma and then took a haircut and then brought the other korbanos, we'll tell him that korban doesn't get you don't get attributed for. So you have to bring that korban still. Come back in 30 days with that korban. But the korbanos that you did bring, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. that it's going to say that according to Rab Shimon, the secret of Rab Shimon is here's the secret as pointed out in Tosfos, that Rab Shimon says, "Megaleach al shalmei nedava yatsa." The Gemara is going to say this in a second. That we thought that if it's not attributed to him, it's like a regular shlamim. Say the man was very nice. He wore a shlamim, took a haircut, and then we want to know if he was good tiglachas. So we would say, what does that have to do with a regular shlamim? You bring a regular shlamim, does not do with the subject. You have to bring a shlamim for the nazirus, this shlamim. So Reb Shimon is going to say a chiddush that megaleach al shalmei nazir yatsa. That even if he would have been shalmei nedava, megaleach al shalmei nedava yatsa. That he's yotza, even if it's in a dava. So even though it's not attributed to him for his chova, it's not part of what he's supposed to bring. So it's a regular shlamim. Reb Shimon knows even a regular shlamim is also good enough. So Reb Shimon argues in his last case, Ola and shlamim, if it was not, even if it was shalol lishma, since it's a kosher korban, it's like a shalmei nedava. It's not the korban for the nazirus. It's like a shalmei nedava. But even a shalmei nedava is also good enough according to Reb Shimon. So he doesn't have to do tegalachas in 30 days anymore. He doesn't have to come back. So he doesn't have to bring a shlamim. He doesn't have to bring maybe the shlamim he would have to wait for 30 days. No. He was Yosef. So therefore, he still has to bring a korban shlamim. Well, he's Yosef the tegalachas, and the other korbanos were good. But the korban he wasn't the Yosef. So he has to bring still a shlamim. Does he have to wait 30 days for that? Not. He's not going to take a haircut again.
Shalol Lishma turns out to be like a nadava.
Right. And what's the din of a nadava? Tanakama says if it's a nadava, it's nothing to do with you. I mean, it's not very nice. You brought a nadava. Yeshikoyach. You get credit in heaven for bringing a shlamim. But it's nothing to do with the nazirus. But the Shimon says that tiglachas al shalmei nadava is good enough. So therefore, the tiglachas was good, and the kabbanis after that were good, and he doesn't have to have hair growing again. But he has to bring a korban shlamim. So we'll tell him, bring a korban shlamim.
And the nazirus was good.
And the nazirus was good, and the teglachas was good, and the kabbanis are good. Only the korban. Reb Shimon says this here. Reb Shimon, look at this is Reb Shimon holds. We'll see it in the Gemara in a second. Even though it's not considered the shlamim for his nazirus, it's considered shlama shlamim. Reb Shimon holds even a shlama shlamim is also good enough for a nazir to be megaleah. It's a big chiddush. He doesn't have a drasha for that. And he bought 3 kabbanas and took a haircut. And then two of them are not good, but one of them was good.
That sounds good.
That's good enough.
Sure. Surely.
Of course, it's a
Oh,
black.
because we don't know the order. We don't know which.
But whichever one he bought first. He's supposed to do chatas over shlamim, but that's not market. The order is not market. So whichever one he bought all 3 of them, and then he took a haircut.
Before he knew which one was possible.
Yeah, and then he found out it could be yes or not. And then 2 of them were possible even, as long as one of them is still kosher. So his tiglachas was after a kosher korban, either the chatas or the shlam, like it says before, and gilach alechem mishlosh and yatsa. So even though we bought 3 korbanos and 2 of them are not good, but one of them was still good, so his tiglachas was good. And whichever ones were not good, he has to bring them, but he doesn't have to grow his hair anymore. His tiglachas was a good tiglachas. The korbanos that he brought afterwards were kosher korbanos. The one that he was not good, that's the one that he has to bring again.
All the cases before this, he always cut his hair after a puzzle one. After a puzzle one.
Right. Puzzle or lo olulo l'shem chova. Either with chatas was puzzle, or it was tam that it was puzzle, it was a treifa. But the Ola Shlama were not puzzle. The Ola Shlama was not Ola l'shem chova. It's a kosher korban, but he doesn't get credit for it. It's not credited to what he needs to do. Reb Shimon says that's also good enough. The one says it's not good enough. But if we had one kosher korban, even though he brought all 3, we tell him 2 of them were no good, but one of them was good. So his glachas was good, and he just has to be in the korban that he's missing.
And it would also be if he brought one and it was good and he cut his hair and then he brought the 2 others and one was busted. That's the same as this last case.
Yes, because his glachas was good, and therefore it has to be in the korban that he's missing.
Okay.
Can we be somewhat from Rabbi Shimon?
We're not going to pass Nagav Shimon.
No, it doesn't help.
I put it before on the Tosfos. Here's it. Reb Shimon holds that even it's really a shalmei nedava, since he did a shlamim shalol l'shem chavo or olas nedava, the same thing. That it's not considered something part of the nazirus, but that's good enough. My time, where does he get it from? The makruv and asan ala esha shetach hazevach hashalomim. It doesn't say shetach hazevach shalomov. Lo ksav shalomov. It says that he should put the hair into the fire, which is under the cooking, the pot of the korban shlomim. It doesn't say his shlomim, shlomov. It says shlomim, so any kind of shlomim. So therefore, he's also even if it would have been shalom and davar. No mishnah.
Tachas zevach hashlamim.
That's the
Okay.
first line.
Yeah.
The Mem Zion. Mi shenizrak alav echel ben adamim binitma. Somebody that had one of the kabbanas brought, he got the zrika of one of the kabbanas was done, and he became tamei.
Well, who?
The nazir.
Not, isn't the Cohen the one that's sprinkling?
Yes,
So this Cohen is sprinkling and then the Nazir became tummy?
right.
Okay.
So really,
According to the Rabbanan, everything's fine.
everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's so fine. They're not only benitma. We could even tell them, go ahead. You want to become tummy? That's your allowed to, like it says in the
Just,
Mishnah.
just
before.
get out of the basement.
Yeah, where does it say that? Just to go back, to back up. Here it says, look at that. It says. I'm sorry, top of the next page of Shimon. Shimon Omer. After one of the bloods, Reb Shimon says, go ahead, become Tamil Mason. And the Chama advisors say the same thing. So here the case says that it was a terrible thing that Nitmai became Tamil. It's not terrible. According to Reb Shimon, you're allowed to.
Mhm.
But according to Tanakam over there, who's Rabbi Lezer, that says Achamaisim Kulam, that you have to have everything in order to become Tamil, to drink wine Tamil Mason. So now he did a problem. So he became Tamil before he's finished. So Rabbi Lezer, which he thought so was going to be the problem, is a problem. According to Rabbanan, there's no problem. Like he's fine. That's what it says here. Rabbi Lezer has a problem. Rabbi Lezer almost so everything's off because he wasn't allowed to become Tamei yet. He's still in the middle of his Nazirus. The truth is he's not in the middle of his Nazirus because he counted the whole thing. He's like after Achri Malos. And there was a mission before, the Gemara was going to bring it down, that once he became Tamei after he finished his count, the Belezah says that he has to have 7 days.
Really?
But
That's such a thing?
he's after the Malos. But it's not so cold. He doesn't start all over again. He finished his count. So we'll come back to that in a
7
second.
days you can have some hair, is that what it means?
Yes,
It doesn't have to be 30.
right. The Belezah happens to hold 7
That's,
days.
that's cool. Oh,
Some hold over there, he has to have 30
days.
days, but it's not, so no one holds cold. Once he finished his full count, even if he didn't bring the carbon. Here it takes the case, he bought a carbon, one carbon. Even if he didn't bring one carbon, also, once he finished his count, so then it becomes Tamei doesn't so Sakol. So these words need explanation. He wasn't allowed to become Tamei, but it's a source of everything. Can't be worse from he's after the count already. We'll get to that in a second. We have time. No problem. Bring other karbanos. And he could have said, he could have become Tamei Lachatchil if he wants to, because they hold that once you bring one of the damim, you're allowed to become Tamei. He didn't bring his karbanos yet. So here it says V'yitor. So they say V'yitor means after he becomes Torah. Don't bring the other karbanos till he becomes Torah. It's true. Nothing was wrong, and even Lachatchil you allowed to become Tamei if you want. But there seems to be some halacha that you can't bring the karbanos when you're Tamei. So you have to wait technically to become Torah, and then bring the rest of the karbanos. Amulo Ma'aseh b'Miriam Tamudis. They bring a story to support themselves. It was a story, and a zero, her name was Miriam from Tarmod. One of the bloods of the Kabbanas was already sprinkled. She was in a zero, and they brought the first korban. They told her that her daughter is in fatal danger. She went and she found that her daughter was dead and she became Tamei. So she was in a zira that brought one korban and she became Tamei. Let her wait till she becomes Torah and then bring her korbanos, and they don't say that it's also everything. So it's a support to the Chacham, that's what they said. And Rabbi Lezer said that it's also everything. So they brought a support to their Shita. The Gemara wants to know.
Why does it say if it means that she should be tahar first? Why didn't it put it first?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Katani, Rabbi Lezer almost also said, the Mishnah says that Rabbi Lezer says everything goes off. Everything goes off. One Rabbi Lezer, call Achamalos, Shiva Sosa, a different Rabbi Lezer, even before he bought the korban. Once he finished the count, Achamalos, once he finished counting the full count of his Nazirus, and he became Tamei, he only has to do 7 more days. Not everything goes off.
Mhm.
And it says Sosir Sakol. You can't say that it means 7. It says everything goes off. That doesn't fit Rabbi Lezer. My Sosa and Ami become Rabbi Lezer. You know what it means? sosa karbonosa. It means that the carbonas were not good. If he had brought carbonas after the first carbon that he brought, Rabbi Eliezer says it's not enough. You have to bring all the carbonas till you get out of the naziris. Achamais and kulam. You have to do everything. And he became tamid before he brought all the carbonas. So he loses all the carbonas. It doesn't mean he loses all the days. He had a 7-year naziris. He doesn't lose everything. He just has to do 7 days. But then he has to bring all the carbonas because he brought the carbonas before he was allowed. He became tamid before he brought his carbonas. He's going to bring it right because the Chachamim say that bring the rest of the carbonas. It's they want to bring the rest of the Mishnah. Just the Tani and brings the whole thing
I
is the
see.
Mishnah now.
Uh-huh.
Let's take out these words over here. This is a little misleading. This Shramino take it out and let's read it. It's going to be the Mishnah over again, and it's going to say the Chachamim want to Shar carbonos of
Still-
the Yitor. Change that also.
No,
Let's
we're
read the-
just
read
talking
the-
about the woman. isn't
No,
it?
it's not yet. Then, Maisanami, remember Tamudish, and Israel Echad Min Adamim,
I see.
Babita Shoyis Musukenes, Balchom Matzah Shemes, Chacham Tavi Kushak when I said Vititoya. So it means the whole Mishnah, 5 lines. Shramina, that the whole issue is how many carbonas. So abundance say just being sharp carbonas. And the Balasa says, so Akol. What does Akol mean? All the carbonas. You have to have either it means all the days or it means all the carbonas. It can mean all the days because it's only 7 days that you have to make up for. So it must mean it's also all the carbonas. And this was a Mishitas Mamish that if you became tummy after one of the bloods, according to Rabbanah, you're allowed to. And that's what they say is no problem, everything's fine. Just wait to become Torah in order to read the rest of the Kabbanas. And Rabbi Eliezer says, no, he wasn't allowed to become tummy, and all the Kabbanas were not good because he wasn't allowed to become tummy. Yashikoach.
Yashar koach.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.
Thank you.
אברהם, שלושה מן-